Welcome to Lotus Home Improvement tutorial on how to measure your kitchen. So a lot of times, first thing people think about when doing a kitchen renovation is their cabinets. Like that's probably the number one thing people go to when they want to get a kitchen renovation. So what type of cabinets do we want? Obviously, there's a lot that goes into measuring your kitchen to determine what size cabinets you can get. I can remember one time we had a family who wanted tall cabinets, and then they wanted glass cabinets on top, but they only had an 8-foot ceiling. So there's some limitations to what type of cabinets you can get, which is why properly measuring can point you in the right direction of what your kitchen will look like. So first of all, let's talk about the base cabinets. These are base cabinets, these are wall cabinets. This is an island. First, we're gonna talk about the base cabinet. So what I like to do first is measure the perimeter base cabinets. So in this kitchen, you can see on the end here, we have a dishwasher and you have a light switch here. So we need to determine where you want your base cabinets to end. So right now, I am gonna start at the end of this cabinet. For a lot of couples, sometimes it helps to have your husband or wife help you to hold the tape measure, but for purposes of this video, we won't do that. So for this stretch of cabinetry, I'm gonna start there at the end and go all the way out, and I am at 137 inches. So that is the stretch for my sink. You can call this wall A, you can call it whatever you want to, wall B, but this is our sink wall, base cabinets. I'm at 137 inches. So that's pretty simple. You just go down to the edge, measure all the way to the wall. All right, so now we're gonna do this stretch, and we'll go from the edge of that wall over the stove into the refrigerator. I'm at 96.5 inches. So that's how much I have for that wall. A typical refrigerator is gonna be 36 inches. So I know I'm gonna have 36 inches over to this wall. So what did I say that was? 100 and, or 96.5 inches plus 36 is gonna be what this wall is. All right, so that is your base cabinet perimeter for this particular kitchen. Now let's do the wall cabinets. I'm gonna come back to the base because we're gonna talk about the appliances that go in the base run of cabinets, but we'll talk about that after we measure for the wall. So for the wall cabinets, coming back to the first wall that we did for the bases, obviously you kind of want your wall cabinet to line up with your base, but the difference here is we have a window. All right, and what I like to do is measure from the end of the run to the edge of the window. And right now I'm at, say, 28, say we're 26.5 inches from where this cabinet ends to where the window ends. It's also important to note with a window, will you have trim? And when I say trim, will you have trim edging out your window? And then you want to know what size trim, whether it's 2.5, 4.5, whatever size. And this is what I mean trim. This is kind of what I'm speaking of. This type of trim, a lot of people have that outlining a window in their kitchen. So if you have a piece of trim that is 2.5 inches here, you want to deduct that from the edge. So say 26.5 or 26 here, 26 inches, deduct 2.5, you're gonna be at 23.5 inches for your top cabinet. All right, so I got 23.5 inches here for this side of the wall or this side of the window. Then I want to measure the space for my window, and I'm at 41 inches. All right, 41 inches, and then I'm gonna go all the way over to the wall, just as I did in the base run. And we're at 69 inches, but to subtract for if I was using trim, I'd go to 66 and a half inches is a mounted space that I have for my wall cabinets on this wall. All right, so that's how you measure for a wall, the wall cabinets on when you have a window involved. And most kitchens, not all, but majority of kitchens will have the sink cabinet centered out to the window. You don't want your faucet here or here. You want to have that faucet centered out to the window. So that's also something to consider. All right, so that is how we do the wall cabinets for where there's a window. And then here, you're gonna go from the wall over to where the stove is. Most stoves, majority of stoves are gonna be 30 inches. That's unless you're going with one of these really expensive Wolf stoves or Viking. Some of those are huge, but in a standard kitchen, you're gonna have 30 inches for the stove, for the microwave, and so on. So I know I'm gonna subtract that already from this run. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm at 51 inches. So I know from here over, I'm gonna have 51 inches. And for any cabinet designer, that's all they're gonna be looking at is how much space they have from here to here, from here to the window, from that side of the window over. So that's all you as a homeowner need to bring in to your cabinet dealer or designer. That's the type of information they're gonna need. And then obviously here, we're gonna need, I got about 15 and a half inches between the microwave and the refrigerator. So that is where I'm at in terms of this wall. Taking out the 30 inches for the microwave and the stove. And obviously on this wall, you're taking out the distance for the window. And in this case, we theorized that we'd have some trim here. You're taking out that space too. So that is the perimeter in terms of the width of your cabinets. Now, it's also what a lot of people forget is the height of their ceiling. And this is where you want to come over, and what I'm seeing, most houses are at 8 feet ceilings. Some of the newer houses that are built like early 90s and up, I don't know how new that is, but go to 11 feet or whichever. But your cabinet designer dealer will need to know the height of the ceiling. So I'm at 107 and a half feet or inches, I should say, here. All right, so that's gonna determine the height of your wall cabinet. All right, so wall cabinets will come in increments of 3. And, you know, obviously the cabinet over the stove and over the refrigerator are gonna be shorter due to the refrigerator and the microwave. But for 8-foot ceiling, you're gonna see most likely a 30-inch cabinet. So that's coming here, 30 inches up. So where that tape measure ends is where you're gonna have a 30-inch cabinet. That's pretty much what you're gonna get. Sometimes you'll see 36 inches, but that's gonna get us to a standard kitchen. Majority kitchens where you're doing an 8-foot ceiling, you're not gonna see anything less than that, and you're gonna be at 96 inches. So that comes to here, all right? So that means you would have at, let's say, at a, this is, I believe, is this a 42 inch or a 30? Yeah, this is a 42 inch cabinet. So in an 8-foot ceiling kitchen, this cabinet will go all the way to the ceiling. Most people want some sort of decorative crown molding at the top, so you wouldn't be able to use a 42 inch. So you'd go 30 or 36 inch, and then you put your crown on top of that. But for the layman and the average homeowner who's just trying to get measurements for their kitchen to get to their kitchen designer, they just need to know the height of of the ceiling, and I just explained why, and that's going to determine what height of the cabinets on the wall that you'll use. All right. And then two, a lot of times people will go, okay, well, I have an 8-foot ceiling. Let's do a 42-inch all the way to the ceiling. I can guarantee you your ceilings are not even. You're gonna have, whether it's off a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch or so, you're gonna have some slope in most ceilings. And when you go, anytime you put anything up all the way to the ceiling, you may see that your cabinets are not even, because most ceilings aren't even. So that's something to consider also when designing and choosing what size, what height cabinet you want on your wall. And determining, with the crown molding, you can kind of play with things a little bit when you have an uneven ceiling, what size crown you use, where you put it on the cabinet. And sometimes you can use tricks like that to mask any fluctuation in the level of your ceiling. So that's something that a good designer can play with and point you to the right size of cabinet that you want to use, so you don't see any issues like that. So that's the perimeter. Trying to think of anything else. I think we're good there. Now, that is all they'll need to know in terms of what the perimeter cabinets, base and wall cabinets will entail. So let's talk about an island. Most kitchens will have an island. I know you kind of want, this kitchen has kind of the minimal amount of space, 36 inches you want of walk room in between an island and your perimeter cabinets. And that's gonna give us space for opening any dishwasher doors. A little bit more than 36 here. Actually, that is 36. Opening a oven door or opening a refrigerator door. So you kind of want 36 inches at least when you're designing your kitchen. So a designer is gonna know how much space they have from this wall to the far wall, because that's gonna determine what size island, whether you go 1 cabinet deep or 2 cabinet deep for your island. So they're gonna know and wanna know the perimeter of your kitchen from this wall, and that wall, and how far you have in between before they can design the island. You don't want, say you had here, let's say right now I'm to the edge of this island, I'm at 8 feet, 96 inches. So say you had 96 inches total in the kitchen. You probably wouldn't want an island, because you want to have space on both sides. Or you'd have something really small right in the middle. So knowing what the distance is between every wall in your kitchen, here we're at about 141 inches. That's gonna help your designer to determine what cabinets and how much space and how you can maximize the design of your kitchen. So a lot of times homeowners come in to get new cabinets and they have no clue how tall the ceilings are, the walls, or they'll bring in a rudimentary drawing of what they think the measurements are in their kitchen, and they've left out distance between the window, they've left out the ceiling height, and that's when you got to go back to the drawing board, and you can't really get a proper measure and a proper design of your kitchen without the information that I just shared in terms of measuring out your kitchen. So I think that covers it all. Any questions, give us a call. Lotus Home Improvement. We like to help out any way we can in helping homeowners decide what type of cabinets they need and have a professional eye and looking at helping and designing their kitchen. Thanks.